Hello, this is the Alpha Rail Fan here, and today I'll be starting a brand new series called The Forgotten Locomotives of Wisconsin and Southern. This is a video series that goes through some history of locomotives that were once used on the Wisconsin and Southern that are no longer part of the railroad today. From the early years of 1980s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and the present day 2020s, I will cover a brief history of locomotives that were once part of this great Class II railroad. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the series, as I hope to continue making these kinds of videos for the foreseeable future. And without further ado, let's get this video started, shall we? Southern Pacific. One of the most beloved Southern fallen flag railroads. You know it, you love it. You've always been fascinated by its classic bloody nose and black scheme. You may have also been lucky enough to see one of the remaining AC-44s still painted in this beloved paint scheme, or the other locomotives that are in yard or local service that have it as well. Then we head out to the Midwest, in Wisconsin, with everyone's favorite Class II railroad, Wisconsin and Southern, with their classic red and white, with that glorious goose on the side of the cab, with stripes on the nose. Now you might be asking, what do these two railroads have to do with each other? From today's standpoint, they have nothing to do with each other, as Southern Pacific has been bought out, and Wisconsin and Southern has nothing related to Southern Pacific except for HLCX 6334. I sure do love me some leasers, but let's not get off topic here. Anyway, we have to go back to sometime around the 1990s, as this is a brief history of Southern Pacific GP35 locomotives of the Wisconsin and Southern. Sometime around in the early 1990s, Wisconsin and Southern has been around for over 10 years now, and we're looking for some more motive power after acquiring the Wisconsin and Calumet Railroad, also known as the WICT, in 1992. This railroad owned the Wisconsin and Southern Division from Janesville to Fox Lake, and also Janesville to Madison lines. With just a fleet of mostly GP9 locomotives, power was getting short, and they were in need of some more locomotives after expanding south and west of Wisconsin and Illinois. Around August 22, 1992, 3 Southern Pacific GP35s were shown at the Wisconsin Central Shops Yard in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, as they were just recently purchased by Wisconsin and Southern. 8 of these 3 GP35 locomotives were purchased and were put into service sometime around 1993. Here are some photos and videos of what these units looked like when they were in service. Most of these GP35 locomotives were modified after being acquired from Wisconsin and Southern, as most units had their nose and classification lights removed, as well as their SP decals completely removed. One of them had even their red paint removed as a result of having this just plain gray unit, while others received an entire paint scheme while keeping the light on the nose instead of the cab. They went through some changes over the years as they served under Wisconsin and Southern. These locomotives would continue to serve Wisconsin and Southern until the late 90s and early 2000s, when they were replaced by the SD40-2s. The GP35s had quite a few issues and were disliked by Wisconsin Southern crews, not to mention that when they were bought, they were pretty much worn up by the Southern Pacific, as they were just bought for cheap to help out with the power shortage after acquiring the Southern Division. The common issue of the GP35s was an overly complicated electrical system that only a few crews understood. A lot of parts were hard to find, making them hard to repair. They were deemed unreliable and were later sold off to railroads like Northern Plains Rail or MPR and scrapped. However, one of these units would survive the longest, being Wisconsin Southern 3501, which, fun fact, was the only GP35 locomotive to receive Wisconsin Southern paint before they eventually sold it off. They sold it off to North Plains Railroad, where it was later renumbered to MPR 3504, where it was put into service for 10 years before being sold off again to J&L Consulting, keeping the same number with GLCX reporting marks, to being sold off one more time to, get this, Waco, which owns Wisconsin Southern today. They renumbered it to WAMX 3883 and painted it to the Waco black and yellow scheme, which is still active in service to this very day. Man, that unit sure went all over the place. Anyway, it was very interesting to learn about all these locomotives and how they played an important role in Wisconsin Southern history. This is just the start of my brand new series called Forgotten Locomotives of Wisconsin and Southern, and I hope I can work on more of these videos in the future. Make sure you consider subscribing. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it really helps out the channel. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!